Hello, good afternoon, my fellow Gambians and non-Gambians living in the Gambia and abroad. This is Samsudeen Sarr coming this Friday, the 4th of June, 2021, making this audio in English because it's purposely to address a remark made by Mr. Karim Khan, the British lawyer who has been elected to succeed Mrs. Fatou Bensouda at the ICC in this month of June the 16th, 2021. Apparently, he has made a remark that has been misrepresented, misinterpreted, misconstrued, thanks to the propaganda by Esa Faal, that his remark amounted to agreeing to his statement that Jammeh has been found guilty of prosecution, guilty of crimes against humanity, that he believes will be taken to the ICC or some court of law to convict him. And what I heard Mr. Khan said is far from the reality, because the statement he made in a tweet was that, Esa Faal's closing remarks at the TRRC was very strong, and that Gambia needs justice, which is a generalized statement, very vague, not specific in anything whatsoever. But then I want Mr. Khan to know that this is how he has been misrepresented in the Gambia. And the Gambia, as polarized as it is today, are finding it very difficult to understand why Mr. Khan said so. But first, Mr. Khan, I want to introduce myself to you. I am a Gambian author, and I was once the deputy permanent representative of the Gambia at the United Nations from 2015 to 2017. I was a soldier too, and one time the commander of the Gambia National Army in 1998 to 1999. I was also a school teacher, a qualified school teacher. And now I am a retiree in the Gambia, monitoring the developments in terms of our social, political, religious, and security-related matters that will help the country move forward. Now, that said, I want to just make it clear to you that Esa Faal was at one point in 1994, when the coup d'etat took place, led by Yaya Jammeh, former Lieutenant Yaya Jammeh. Esa Faal was at the Ministry of Justice as an employee of the government. And he was recognized as one of the staunchest supporters of Jammeh at that time. And according to witnesses who came, legal lawyers who came to the TRRC, he has been identified as one of the lawyers at the time who wrote the most draconian laws, decrees, to consolidate the AFPRC government and turned out to support them wholeheartedly throughout from 1994 to 1997, when Jammeh was so satisfied with him and decided to appoint him at the United Nations organization as first secretary for the Gambia embassy at the Gambian mission. Of course, he is now one of the people who said that the coup d'etat was illegal, the laws written were illegal, and that Jammeh started his dictatorship in 1994 and remained the worst dictator until 2016. And in fact, he also made a statement to the effect that when Jammeh took over the government, he removed all competent people in the position of authority and replaced them with members of his tribe, which is false, because Esa Faal is not a Jola, I was the army commander. I was the Jola from James tribe. And Gambians across the board know that that is a false statement. And not only that, ESA in the beginning of the TRRC make it crystal clear to all Gambians that the objective of the TRRC was not only to discourage the pervasive happenings of people being arrested and detained illegally, but also to ensure that perpetrators of crimes in the 22 years of Jammeh's regime will be invited to confess their crimes and apologize to the Gambians and be eligible for amnesty. This is what we were told from the beginning. But over time, what was supposed to be a non-statutory commission was turned into a statutory commission, sometimes by ESA, where witnesses were treated as convicts or charged personnel whom he bullied and treated like they were guilty of a crime. Often you will see the weak, the ill-informed come before the TRRC and he bullies them into confessing things that they don't even know how it happened. So in the end, instead of reconciling a polarized nation, he has divided the Gambia more than it was before the TRRC. Now, when the case of Jammeh being taken to the ICC was first brought up at the ICC during the tenure of our sister Fatou Bensouda as prosecutor, it was made clear to the Gambians that there was nothing to indicate that there were anything that reached the threshold of what even justifies the investigation of such crimes in the Gambia. But then, I think during the TRRC, when they brought up the so-called junglers, Mrs. Bensouda has stated that they did not know that the junglers existed and that they were like a death squad for Jammeh. But what Mrs. Bensouda may fail to understand or fail to realize is that, and you, Mr. Khan, is that these junglers were members of the security forces and were arrested soon after the takeover or the change of government in 2017 and taken to prison, imprisoned, without being charged, without being taken to court, without being brought before a magistrate, or without being provided with any legal advice. For 3 years, they were in the prison under the roughest conditions. And then all of a sudden, one day, they called them at the TRRC and say, confess your crimes or go back to prison. And that is what happened. They came and asked them, what should we confess? They told them what they should confess, and they confessed. Say that you kill people and dump them in wells here and there. They said so. Say that you kill people and buried them at some forest here and there, and they said so. All these places that they said they had killed people and dumped them in wells and terrains where they buried the dead were all visited by forensic experts all over, from Senegal, the international community, Gambian police, ECOMIC, everywhere, everybody, and nothing was found. But these guys, what are they saying? Yeah, well, it was here. We don't know what took them away, but the wells were here. We don't know what made them disappear. And these are the people confessions that ESA is now saying that they were good evidence to take Jammeh to the Hague for committing crimes against humanity. And believe it or not, their colleagues, their counterparts are still languishing in jail because they refuse to accept the confession offer, because they said they did not commit any crimes and needed, they want lawyers. They say, you're not going to get a lawyer here. They said did not commit any crimes. So it's like, stay there for the rest of your life. They are now in their 50th year in jail. And Mr. Khan, tell me, with all the greatness they are talking about you, whether these evidence being gathered from these false confessions are tenable in a real court of law. I don't think so. But ESA is making it look like these are things that will lock up Jammeh when they will not. Even the composition of the TRRC is questioned by Gambians, because you cannot take people who have taken arms in 2014 and attack the Gambia to overthrow the government and fail. Some of them died, and the others who ran away to America were arrested by Americans and jailed, and now are convicts, ex-convicts, to those same people to be appointed as lead investigators in the TRRC to look into the crimes committed by Jammeh, and think that these guys are going to be fair in their investigation. And that's exactly what happened in the Gambia. Or commissioners whose children or daughter or sons have committed crimes against the regime, like subversive activities against the government, and their parents taken to join the commission to determine what was right or wrong in Jammeh's era. All these things, I think, compromise the spirit in which the TRRC was constituted or established. And but you may not know that, Mr. Khan. And like I said, probably Asaf call you to say, can you add some word, because you were his boss, we understand, to make his statement way stronger or look better. But in reality, most Gambians have lost hope in the TRRC, because in fact the witnesses brought before the TRRC come with conflicting narratives over particular incidents that were supposed to have the same narrative. So I just thought I should make this short audio for Mr. Khan in particular, to understand that the statement you made is really is a serious concern to most Gambians who were made to believe that you are in agreement with Esa Fall, saying that Jammeh is culpable and should be taken to the ICC for committing crimes against humanity. Now, looking at the objective of the TRRC, Esa in the beginning explained that the main objective of the TRRC was to invite voluntary statements from witnesses who were the perpetrators or victims, to come and say what happened. And if, in fact, perpetrators appear and confess to their crimes and apologize sincerely, they will be eligible for amnesty. This is what we are made to understand. And he has also said that people like Sana Sabali, who was deputy chairman to Jammeh when they took over the government, when they seized power in 1994, and Edward Singate, who was also the Minister of Defense, came to the TRRC and were allowed to, invited, and they confessed to their crimes, apologized, and as I said, they were eligible for amnesty. But Jammeh cannot, because he thinks if Jammeh is invited, he's going to behave like Milosevic when he was being tried at the ICC for committing war crimes in the 3 wars in Bosnia, Serbia, and Yugoslavia. Now, to compare Jammeh and Milosevic is, to me, bordering on really madness. because they are completely different issues, different cases, and different personalities. Even at some points, he compared Jammeh with Adolf Hitler of Nazi Germany, who in a world war, 1939 to 1945, has caused the death of over 20 million soldiers, 6 million Jews, 40 million um, civilians. So ESA is creating, he is in charge of the narrative, because most of the members of the commission at the TRRC don't know what is happening. They don't know what he is doing. And they're just following whatever he says. As a matter of fact, before even coming up with this decision that Jammeh is guilty of anything, he should have waited for the commission to come up with their report. They are still writing their report and not yet ready. But he came up with all this. Now, if you could, I think, let the deputy chairman of the AFPRC, who sees power, come and I think Jammeh should have also accorded the same opportunity to come and confess his crimes if he says so. But now it is not. It is a matter to him. Not only Jammeh would be denied the opportunity to come and testify, or he was already denied, but all crimes committed, including that of his subordinates, like his deputy Sana Sabali, who said that he deliberately did the killing from nobody's orders, are all responsibilities of Jammeh now. Mr. Khan, to be honest with you, ESA has really created a situation in the country that is making Gambians lose trust in the creation or establishment of any commission of inquiry anymore in this country. Since the transition, we have had two commissions: the Janneh Commission, which was meant to investigate the properties of former President Yahya Jammeh, and before even the report was brought out, the properties confiscated were sold to friends and family members. And when finally the report came out, the president cannot act because they had undermined the spirit at which that commission was constituted. The same thing like the Constitutional Review Commission, which was also another failure because of the incompetence and dishonesty of the commissioners who were tasked to look into creating a new constitution for the Gambia. Likewise, I see no way in which the TRRC report will pass the test of credibility and be adopted in this country peacefully and accepted by Gambians in general. No, because there is nothing legitimate that these people were doing in pursuing this case. And I guess you have, by saying that Esa Fal's closing remarks were very strong, you probably have heard about the list of important personnel he said were prepared by Jammeh, handwritten, of which the name of Muammar Gaddafi was there, former Muammar Gaddafi, President of Senegal, Abdoulaye Wade was there, and his son, dignitaries in Senegal, dissidents in the Gambia, abroad, were written in that list. According to ESA, he got it from somebody who said that it was a list prepared by Jammeh to be taken to some witch doctor, spiritual guru, to kill them by casting spells on them. ESA has been showing us that list as if, according to him, was good evidence to be taken to the La Hague to charge ESA of trying to kill people. Sorry, to charge Jammeh of trying to kill people by spiritual means. And when I saw that, I said to myself, This is the last thing that any court of law in the world will accept as a tenable evidence, because it borders on madness to come and tell us that this list prepared by Jammeh, we don't even know who prepared it, because it came in 2 pages. He said there is a 3rd page where his signature was and the date, and that they were looking for it, they lost it. But those were Jammeh's writing. We are told now that it was not Jammeh's writing, but somebody else who is in that list. And in fact, I still think it is going to be ridiculous for that list to be brought to the ICC as evidence of Jammeh's atrocities, because it was a list that was to be taken to spiritual gurus to cast spells on those who were on that list to die or be maimed or crippled or will not be able to talk again. This is what Esafal has brought to us. So, Mr. Khan, I want to cut my audio very short, and because I don't have much to tell you other than to say that the tweet you make, in response to Esa Fal's crossing remark at the TRRC is misrepresented, misinterpreted, and misconstrued in the Gambia as a statement indicating that now the TRRC is ready to convict or to prosecute Jammeh for crimes against humanity as stated by Esafal. And I hope and pray that your appointment as the new prosecutor at the TRRC, so the ICC, would be of great success for you and your family, and that you will, as usual, perform your duties in the very professional way you have been known to do your duties that catapulted you in the position you are today. So we are praying for you, Mr. Khan. And please, I would suggest, if you did not really take your time to listen to Esa's statement, to go and listen to him and to tell us whether the list of, Gambians and non-Gambians, Esa is saying that they were to be killed spiritually, is good evidence for the consideration at the ICC. And that you should also tell me whether the junglers who were incarcerated and forced to come and confess have the right people to be seen as the truth tellers whose stories will be taken to the ICC. I think as a lawyer, you know that these are not true, and I am not a lawyer, but I am sane enough and wise enough to know that what Esafal is trying to sell in the Gambia is not true, is false, and that no Gambian, no sane Gambian expect the recommendations of the TRRCB to be implemented in this country. I rest my case, wish you luck, and have a great, nice day with members of your family. Thank you very much.